Yeah, one of the chaplains put it in these words once, and he said, I'm all for abolishing prisons, but from the inside. Well, I was just sitting in this house one day with a discussion group, and one of the older members came up and she's telling me all about this jail program that she had volunteered for. And it sounded kind of interesting. It didn't sound like something that I would be doing, but she said she was thinking of dropping out, and they really needed somebody to come in and replace her, because it's hard to get volunteers. I mean, this was way back in, I don't know, 80s. And so I went. It was an evening program in what they call the chapel. It was a program room. And it was a discussion program, so I went, and it was sort of interesting. There were only two friends who were part of it. It was called the Quaker program. So it was good. The guys were really into it. They loved being there. They loved to discuss things and to share their thoughts. So I went again and again. And then one week I went, and my God, I was the only one there. None of the volunteers showed up. So one of the officers came over to me in the waiting room and they said, "Listen, Keith, I got 20 guys upstairs waiting. Are you going to come up or not?" Talk about, being in a position I had nothing prepared. So I said, "Okay, what happens if I don't?" And they said, "Well, we'll take the guys back to their cells." So, oh my God, these guys love talking so much. They love being visited. So I went up. And sure enough, there were 20 guys in this room, a small room. In those days, they could smoke as well. So, anyway, I went up there and I said, "Listen, guys, I have to be honest with you. I thought some other volunteers were going to be here. I have nothing prepared." And one of them got up and said, "It's okay, Keith, have a seat." He pulled out a chair for me. "Have a seat, we'll take care of it." So I was there. I sort of threw in a couple words here and there. But it was their program, and they did it so well. Because they just felt so positive about, if I wasn't there, they wouldn't have a chance to talk about anything. So my presence was that important. When I first started, there was a lot of people in the room, and there was discussions that went on, and they had guests come in. They had a group of Crown attorneys from Ottawa came once, and that was a real novelty for the guys because they never talked across the table to a Crown attorney before. So there were things like that. Sometimes I used my own. I had taken some courses with Dr. Charles Taylor, who was the chaplain at Dorchester, New Brunswick. And he had done all sorts of things for many years, spiritual games and, artistic, creative things. And he'd written books counseling prisoners addicted to crime. And he just got a good sense of where these guys were coming from and what they needed to work. They need to work things out for themselves. So I used some of his exercises. I did that for some time. I can't remember when that stopped. Except, it stopped when the chaplain came to me one day and he said, "Listen, we've only got this one program area, and we know you come in and do one-on-ones sometimes. So we should do that instead." And one-on-ones were like lawyers' offices, very tiny little cubicles. And I did that for a while, but then the lawyers needed them. So, you're competing for space, and I refuse to compete with a lawyer. You can't. They have the right to be there. They're getting the guys out, if anybody can. So, the chaplain came to me again and said, "Listen, how would you feel about walking through the ranges?" All my old phobias came back. Before that, I only seen the ranges from the hall. And I see the noise, all the ruckus that goes on in there, and any problem, any fights that are going to break out are going to break out in the ranges. And there's all these bars, So anyway, someone asked me to do something different, and I'll try. Try not to look too nervous. But I guess I did look kind of nervous because the first few times I went in there, occasionally inmates would come up behind me. How they got out because they were sweeping the floor or something, and put my hand on my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, Keith, you're safe here. You're in jail now." So I learned to trust them. They have the personal support committee. It's very important. And I could just meet with them like I'm talking to you now. I could just go rattle on and say, "This is going on, and I'm having a problem with this. Can you help me out?" And it was like a clearness committee, really. I needed to keep that going. Once it got started, it was essential. None of us are in this on our own. We don't have to be on our own. We have to ask for help where we need it. They did give me a little bit of financial help. I didn't need a lot because I needed some art supplies. When I was, after doing the group program, I was walking through the units and I saw the guys needed paper, they needed pencils like that. I had to cut up a lot of pencils because you can't give full-size pencils to guys in prison. There were some really good artists, and some of them did some amazing things. There was one Ojibwe man who did wonderful drawings. And he would have all the other inmates in his unit drawing. You know, they would come up, people would come up and say, "You got any pencils, Keith? You got any pencils?" And all these pencils that I was giving out to all these various people were all ending up in his box. Because they were encouraging him, but he was encouraging them. So that's what I love to see. I work through chaplaincy, because I have a background in spiritual and religious care. So I said, that's better for me to do that, because I can talk to the chaplain and at the same level we see the men's needs are more what you would call spiritual, and they relate to that. That's what they want to talk about. And it was becoming more multi-faith, because that's, the jail is Canadian society, Toronto. So these guys on the street, they represent a cross-section of Canadian society. They're very interested in spirituality. Some of them are not Christian background. Some of them are Muslims, many more Muslims coming in. So many number of Muslims. Rastafarian. Oh boy, that's a whole other picture. But great guys, full of energy, you know. And one of them took his shirt off for me once, and he had a big tattoo on his back of Bob Marley. He said, "I want you to give me some reading about Bob Marley." So I was doing that. I was Googling stuff on Bob Marley and Marcus Garvey and Haile Selassie, people that I had never had a clue of before, but just making little Googling sheets, printing sheets. And then I thought, well, I'll make bookmarks. My computer has columns. So I did with that. I built pictures of the person. There's a picture of Bob Marley and a quote. Bob Marley was a great writer. He was a great spiritual leader. So it was delightful to do that. And then other people would come to me, Hindus, they wanted something. So I did something from Gandhi. And Muslim, Abdul Ghaffar Khan, who was a friend of Gandhi's, he had a wonderful spiritual Muslim perspective on things, which some of the guys recognized and some of them didn't, but they did after a while, but they learned about it. So I was learning all about the world religions, and that was exciting. If you feel that, if I was advising somebody, I'd say, is this person needy? This person needs to feel that they're doing good? No. You're not doing much good. You could, if you just go and you listen, because listeners are needed. But if you're needy, and you need to feel that you're doing good and you want to be patted on the back, and you're not going to be patted on the back. If you want to share the experience and talk to different groups, and join like the church council or Just Us, organizations like that, volunteer as John Howard, good. That's a good way to do these things because you're working under supervision. There's a whole network of really exciting people out there who have been working for a long time at getting access and put programs together that would be meaningful and helpful for inmates. Well, one of my favorite memories, when I was going through the units, as I said, sometimes maybe a dozen guys would be wanting something at once and reaching to the bars. And one time I went in there and I said, listen, you hold on a minute. Listen, I'm a Quaker, we worship in silence and that. Would you mind we just share a moment of silence? Huh? Because I wanted something I had to do so urgently, And I said, well, all right. And so I closed my eyes and I bowed my head. I was thinking I was praying really hard. Maybe they'll go away. I get tired of waiting. I opened my eyes. If there were a dozen guys there before, there were 20 guys on the other side of the bars, and every one of them had his head bowed and his eyes closed. Again, maybe one few of them would come up to me and thank me for that. I said, thank you. That's the best silence I've had. We don't get any silence here. Thank you. That's what we want. We don't just want you to be here. We don't just want you to hand us stuff. We want you to share that with me. And that's my faith. So